let's jump into Justin Fields here, who is clearly the best quarterback and the most developing quarterback out of the draft class from last year, and I think is now the apple of many fantasy teams' eyes.
Oh, yeah.
How hurt is he right now? What do you got for me on that front?
Well, I would say he's hurt, but his status is still TBD. I mean, it's a real injury. It's something that I think was really painful. It is a left shoulder injury, so we have seen quarterbacks sustain left shoulder injuries in the past and play. Baker Mayfield is one. I think Trubisky had one a couple years ago. There's been some history of this, so I would say his status is TBA. The team feels optimistic on him playing, so that at least is a good sign, but you don't really know until you get through a couple of days and see how he responds. I would say this, he definitely is the most productive of those young quarterbacks. He is also being extremely well coached. If you look what Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, has done, around the time of the Patriots game, everything changed. Started taking some plays from college, started opening everyone's minds, being like, we are going to use all of Justin Fields. And I think the Chicago Bears this year, their record is obviously not very good, but it kind of feels like they are a really, really well-coached team. And I think he sort of embodies all of that.
So what is the latest with, again, his evaluation? I know you're not in the MRI room or what have you, but if the guy's got a separated shoulder, which is, the initial word on the street, right? Then why is there any consideration? Are they just checking to see if it is separated or not right now, Ian?
Well, I think there's pain, and then there's how functional can you be?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's different, and he's a little different because he's very physical. If you told me, let's say Tom Brady. Tom Brady is playing with plenty of left shoulder injuries. He can deal with it, and it's not like he's out there running. Justin Fields is going to get hit. And if he's not, then he's not going to be the Fields that you sort of want out there, right? Like if he's not going to be the dynamic multi-threat weapon that he's been, then maybe it doesn't make sense to play him. So I think that's what's different for him is he's going to get tackled, and how would he respond to that?
Yeah, and the team that he's facing is a Jets team that comes off a 6-sack performance and is one of the top
defense is legit.
I mean, there's no and that has been part of the pressure cooker that keeps building on Zach Wilson is the idea that he needs to win now because the defense is ready to do that. The defense is fully baked out of the oven, I think, a lot sooner than a lot of people thought. And that adds to the whole equation of how Zach Wilson is performing, and then his performance on the field and then at the podium after the game has created, as you know, a national furor. And it's not just, again, in New York City. It's been a conversation coast to coast. And so Robert Saleh kind of surprised some people by saying, all options are on the table as to who's starting against the Bears. He's evaluating. What's your reporting on that, Ian?
Well, first of all, I would say obviously the performance was bad, and he the worst thing that would happen to Zach Wilson is the team being so good around him, because it's almost like if we assume he is developing, which I don't know, but if we assume that as a young quarterback that he is developing and theoretically getting better, there's no patience now because the team is good, probably better than we all thought. I mean, you look at what Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas have built, except for quarterback, I think that it is really, really good. I do think, Rich, that, all the Jets fans watched how rough his performance was, and that was, whatever it was not good. But I think the performance at the press conference took it to a national level. I think that caught everyone's attention. I think it might have been a little more I don't know what Robert Saleh would have done otherwise, but it definitely took it from a local story to a national story when you had him get up there and just kind of go, I don't really owe it to none of that was good. And any casual viewer, turned to the TV quickly and was like, what? So I think that really changed the calculus for Zach Wilson.
Right, and then, and it might have changed the calculus for Robert Saleh because that's part of the evaluation. And so, any idea who number 2 would be? Who would they turn to? They got a veteran in Flacco, and they got a guy in Mike White who for a couple of games last year in place of Zach Wilson, showed even before this year what the offense can do when somebody's operating at a more efficient rate.
Well, I mean, that's one of the biggest issues the Jets have is Mike White has been the backup recently, so my assumption would be him. But we're really, really good, and then others not so good. Mike White has had his moments where he was really, really full of the eye, and then my guess would be him just for the potential upside.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as clear-cut as I think it would be for a lot of teams if they decide to go away from Zach Wilson, which we don't even know that now, and I would think Solid takes the week to decide.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.